The Trespasser from 1947 tells the story of some intrepid newspaper reporters who are seeking out some literary forgers. And it also features a young Dale Evans back before the days of Roy Rogers movies. So this one looks pretty good. I'll give an overview of the film, spoiler free, and then offer some closing thoughts. Well, the film opens up and we see the character of Stephanie Carson, played by Janet Martin, who is ambitious to get a job with the Gazette. However, this unscrupulous character, Danny Butler, Warren Douglas, initially plays a very mean practical joke on her, makes her think that she has a job there when she actually doesn't. It was pretty lame of him, actually, and you really feel sorry for her. However, through a series of events, she eventually meets up with character Bill Monroe, played by Douglas Fowley. Now, he's an editor with the paper, and he knows her and introduces her to the publisher, Channing Bliss, played by Frances Perlow, who gives her a job. So, everything works out well after all for Stephanie. Well, she learns that Bliss collects rare books and actually buys them through the paper's literary editor, Bruce Coleman, played by William Bakewell. But she does a little bit of her own investigation and learns that the book, The Reasonings of Master Augustine, is actually a fake first edition. Well, Bill finds out about this, confronts Coleman, who admits to the forgery and promises to make amends. Coleman then visits the bookshop of E. Charles, played by Gregory Gay. Now, he's the one who made the forgery and, tells them they've been discovered. But Charles has plans to kill Bill to prevent further investigation. Uh-oh. Well, we then cut over to Dale Evans as a character of Linda Coleman. Now, she is singing in a nightclub here, and to me it was kind of interesting to hear her singing in a pre-Roy Rogers non-Western nightclub song.
It's not the first love for you or me. Our hearts rehearsed love before.
Now, her character is engaged to Bill. Now, Coleman reveals to her that Bill is involved with forgers. Uh-oh. So later, while Coleman is traveling with Bill, the car that he and Bill are in, it's driven off the road and there's a big explosion. Coleman is killed and Bill is injured. Now, at the hospital, Bill is questioned by Detective Kirk, played by Grant Withers, who is very suspicious of Bill and all the stuff that's going on. Now, Linda is convinced that Bill had her brother killed. Stephanie meets with her, and she thinks Bill is innocent, but Linda argues this, and the police, they think it's murder. Well, later she and Linda go to Charles' bookshop, find out what's going on. They want to investigate, but once there, they actually have an encounter with the forgers. Well, what will happen? I can't reveal the ending, no spoilers, but you need to see the ending of this one for yourself to find out what happens. Well, let me offer some closing thoughts on this one. The Trespasser was released in 1947 and was directed by George Blair. According to TCM, the working title for the film was The Finger Woman. Okay. And my thoughts on this one was that this was an enjoyable Republic B picture that moved at a pretty good pace. I thought it had a clever premise with these newsroom reporters trying to figure out what was going on with this counterfeit book ring, and I also liked some of the character friction that we saw through the story. Thought the pacing was good, and I liked the big final resolution of the film. It includes a big old shootout as well. So, all in all, I thought this was a fine little Republic crime film. To me, watching this, Janet Martin was really the star of the film, even though she's third billing in the credits. And doing a little research as an actress, she had a rather short 5-year career in Hollywood. It was roughly from 1943 to 1948. And mostly in Republic pictures, things like westerns, adventure comedies, musicals, that sort of thing. Here I thought she added a lot of energy into the film, playing the sharp, relentless reporter driven to solving the counterfeit mystery. Now, you look at the film and the credits, and Dale Evans gets top billing. But honestly, it's about 20 minutes into the film before she even shows up. And thinking about it, her character in the film isn't even all that important to the story. Don't get me wrong. I think it's great to see Dale Evans here and to hear her sing. But again, it's really that character, the Janet Martin, who was the star of the show here. I guess Dale Evans was just a bigger name at the time, so that's why she gets the top billing. I also thought that Warren Douglas did a decent job here as the, kind of the jerk character. For most of the film, he's got this smug, condescending attitude, and it doesn't really soften much during the course of the film. But I thought it worked well, and it's a pleasure to see him get stiffed with the restaurant bill by Stephanie. Douglas Fowley was also convincing as the Bill Monroe character, the one who discovers the forgery that's going on and tries to make things right. Interesting to me is I've seen him in other films where he generally plays the bad guy character. So it was kind of cool to see him here as this virtuous, character trying to do the right thing. One of the main reasons I wanted to visit this particular film, why it was on my list, was because I love the cinematography of John Alton from this era of cinema. Ever since I first saw some of his inky black artistry in films like He Walked by Night or Hollow Victory from 1948. And while this isn't necessarily one of his more signature films, there's still plenty of his elements on display here that I just love seeing again, such as the sparkling lights on dresses with the heavy noir shadows, the glowing street lights, that sort of thing. So if you're a fan of John Alton, this one is worth checking out to see some of his effects on display. So to wrap up, The Trespasser from 1947 was a worthwhile Republic crime picture. I liked the newsroom characters such as Janet Martin's feisty reporter, and even Warren Douglas as kind of the jerk of the newsroom and their interactions together. I like the mystery and the story here. And it was neat to me seeing a pre-Western Dale Evans as the nightclub singer. I thought this was a good story. It was a well-shot little film, and it's one worth checking out.